Okay, I'm here.
Geronimo, tell me about the investigation and what the CID eventually would report to you, and did they give you a report in writing?
Well, yes, they did. They gave us a final report, and I've been going through it, pretty much a lot. And there's a lot of false statements that were made, by some of the unit members there, and it just doesn't.
Tell me about it. What were some of the false statements?
Well, the pictures that we received, you can see where he's laying and how he's laying, and they say he's pale in color, and that his tongue is balled out, and the pictures that we saw, he looks normal color. He looks, his mouth is closed. He looks like if he's sleeping.
There was an autopsy, was there not?
Yes, there was 2 autopsies, sir. 2
autopsies. Tell me what.
Yeah, we had the body exhumed in June of 2008.
Did you? Tell me about the official autopsy. What the Army autopsy? What did they say?
Well, the Army autopsy calls it a suicide, but there are, conflict in what they said.
Yeah. Now, the death was allegedly from hanging, right?
Well, that's what they claimed that it would. Well, there's no damage on it that we're aware of, but they took it out, and they sent us pictures of it, of an X-ray, and they won't release it to us. I mean, this is a part of my son's body that we want to know if it's broken. We wanted X-rays from his neck. We haven't gotten any of that, and because even the ligature and the furrow around the neck where the belt was. I mean, they claim he hung for 2.5 hours and you can barely detect it, But there's also another statement on the final report where one of the first responders went up there and he claims that my son was laying on the hallway, but they say he hung himself and he was on the closet. So I would expect that maybe they moved him, after the first responder got there, and I'm not positive about this, but how the singed eyebrow, and then being that he made the statement that he was on the hallway and then ended up in the closet later, it's just...
Well, the singed eyebrow, I wonder if that could have been just putting a light up to his face to see if he would respond to make sure he was dead.
No, that's not what the CID agent said,
What did they... Yeah, not what they said, but could that have been what happened?
I don't think so, because it was missing a few hairs from there, he would have had to have had a light pretty close. And the first people that saw Benjamin after he died were the people he was having problems with.
Well, I'm sure.
That wasn't the only thing odd about it. There's a statement, too, where somebody saw a red pickup in front of my boy's house around 4:30. But the guy that owns the pickup ended up over there later, woke up about 5:40 and went to see what was happening. So, how...
This is in the morning, 4:30 and 5:30 in the morning, right?
4:30 and 5:30, and 4:40 and 5:40 in the morning.
Was Judy able to find the part of the DVD?
Yeah, she's looking at it right now, and she's trying to get... she's looking hard. But
what was the conclusion of the second autopsy?
Undetermined, because they didn't have enough pictures.
Well, you had the body exhumed.
I had the body exhumed.
Yes.
By Muffley Funeral in Clovis, New Mexico.
Yes.
That's where we buried him.
Yes.
And we had it checked over, and that's when they found out that the hyoid bone and the cartilage were missing, And they couldn't find the ligature furrow themselves. The second autopsy, they couldn't even locate it. They couldn't find it. They didn't have any, there was no damage to the strap muscles, of the neck, and,
In other words, kinds of damage that would have occurred had he hung himself with a belt were not present.
Were not credible to us, no, sir. Because, you can imagine somebody hanging for 2.5 hours.
So he might have been killed by, say, a karate chop to the neck or something like that?
Well, I think either he was probably killed by some kind of hole, guillotine, or something like that. Because, see, that's what he instructed. In fact, he was teaching these guys combatives. But I think
these guys he was having trouble with were some of his own trainees.
Well, he was teaching them the combative because he had instructed some other units in hand-to-hand combative, and he was like a level 3, combative instructor.
How large was Benjamin? What was his physical size?
Well, the last time we saw him was 4th of July. The 6th of July, and he was up to about 215 pounds. But
how tall was he?
He was 6 foot, but he was real muscular. I mean, his upper body was huge. His legs were slim.
What about what was the size of the specialist?
He was about the same. I guess they were around the same size.
Of course, the specialist had these friends. So if they had an encounter with Benjamin, it could have been not 1-on-1, but 3-to-1.
Yes, because Benjamin was too strong
for one of them to take it.
One person, But the thing was that he had altercations with the other 3 that we suspect. There was 3 of them that we suspected that might have been involved.
The specialist and 2 others.
And 3 others.
3 others, so there were altogether 4.
There were altogether 4.
All right.
And, that during the funeral, when we were at the funeral, these guys wouldn't make eye contact with us. And we weren't even aware. We didn't get the audio, the video till after the rosary, but before the mass before the mass of the next day, after we saw the video, they wouldn't look at us. They wouldn't look at us in the eye. They wouldn't make contact with us at all, and they seemed real nervous. One of the guys couldn't even put the bullets in the flag, at the corner of the flag. He couldn't put the bullets in the rifle, and they all looked real nervous.
That was for did you have a 16-gun salute or something like that?
Yes.
There is my son had my nephew take pictures of the funeral, and the Brigadier General was present in New Mexico. General Montoya was there with quite a few of his people. They attended the services, but they took pictures of the funeral, and when we got them later, when we viewed them later, it was a digital camera. And you could see they were having silent conversations just by their contact of their eyes from each person that were involved with, that we suspect were involved with the death of my son. And we showed these to the CID also, and they just kind of ignored it and went on.
You mean this isn't a video you have of the memorial service, of the burials?
Right. It was. There were just still pictures. There weren't really videos, and you could see the conversations that they were kind of eyeing each other and looking away. And
these four guys were eyeing each other and looking away and so forth.
Right.
The same ones who, of course, wouldn't look you in the eye.
Right. We feel like that the men that killed him were the men that buried him through the honor guard. It comes down to that.
Judy and Geronimo, I can't tell you how much this upsets me. It's a very terrible, excruciating experience you've had to go through here, and my heart goes out to you. And I just want to thank you for coming on the show, Judy. Yeah, go ahead.
Just hearing it the way we heard it the morning through rumor was so devastating, and
yeah.
I don't think we'll ever forget those moments.
This is all not right. This is not right. This is completely wrong, and I'm just so sorry you've had to go through this experience. And I would like to believe something could be done to straighten it out. And I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you for coming on the show. I greatly appreciate it. And
we'd like to, if you don't mind, I'd like to send you that video.
Yes, I wish you would.
You can look it over and if you can, get somebody that knows Hispanic to help you view it, and you can hear the statements for yourself.
Geronimo, please do that. And I want to thank you both for coming on the show. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Thank you. This is Jim Fetzer, your host on The Real Deal, with my special guest, Judy and Geronimo Grego, discussing the death of their son Benjamin, which is an extremely suspicious death, and where I think circumstantially there's reason to believe that he was murdered and that it was covered up. This is Jim Fetzer, your host. We'll be right back.